Please let me try. It was across from the laundry room in the middle of the kitchen, where I was sitting on a chair. She came out of the garage. She saw me sitting there when she got to the door to the laundry room. I took a small table from the living room along with some stage props. I had to show off. Thomas? There was a question mark in her voice. What are your plans? Is something wrong? I told them everything was fine. I think you might be able to help me with the fitting. What a dress? What the heck are you talking about? Something was taken from the table. I was proud to show this off. They say you should put them on. What is this? She asked. Thomas, what's up? What is going on? Is this a joke? Are you not making fun of me? Even though I like a good joke now and then, I wasn't joking. It's a joke. It's supposed to be very important though. I told them it wasn't a joke. Men should stay pure, so it's called a box. Her eyes looked like they were on stalks because they were so big. They really did look like snail eyes to me. There was everything but the little stalks. What the heck? Are you crazy? What do you need to say? She asked. I told her I looked into it. I have to wear rings around my dicks because I'm a cuckold husband. That is the most important thing. You wear the key around your neck on a chain. After the bull is done making love to you, you have to let me go. You can get dirty again if you want to. Thomas, what's wrong with you? She looked at me like I had an extra eye. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you crazy? No, I'm not crazy, I said. Tell me. I need to know how everything works so I can do my part. I got you a pretty chain. I hung it up so she could see the key that was on it. You can put this on. When you're ready, let me out so I can eat cream cakes and have messy seconds. Like this one? The cage is out there. I should have asked you. They have different looks. When are you going to bring the bull inside? I need to meet him right away. What the heck are you talking about? It was almost like she was screaming when her voice got that loud. What the heck is a bull? How come you have that gross thing on you? It's clear she didn't like the cages I chose for her. I guess I could get my money back. I didn't mind as long as she didn't touch my balls. It made me wonder if she had been given back before. Bye. It made me sick to think about it. Before you use it, you need to wash it well. The bull is the person who sleeps with your wife. She got more and more angry as I told him, you know the alpha male. Cook watches over and cleans up after the bull and his wife are done. Thomas, are you telling me that I'm seeing someone? I said no. That's not how I feel at all when I say I'm not accusing. I'm going to judge you. It's not nice to blame someone. It's not true that Accusate is making out with Greg Johnson while you are. I hope I did everything right. Help me put this on now. It was mine to give her. She moved. He moved forward, grabbed it, and threw it hard into the laundry room. This throw was really nice, so I dried it. Stop it, she yelled. I looked like I was hurt. Ronnie, you must have bent it. You needed to tell them you didn't like it. You could have had one you liked instead. I need to fix this a lot before we can trade it for the one you want. Fuck that thing, she growled. When, how, and how long have you known? I thought about it. It took place for the first time on February 11th at 7:44. I replied, well, it's March 15th today, it's now 540. Do you need more time or does an hour work? Hey, that looks like March, it makes sense. That was the day that Anthony died. Now her mouth was open. She looked at me and opened and closed her mouth, but she didn't say anything. She looked like a carp that got stuck on land. It did not look good. Why didn't you say something? She gasped and asked. I asked them what they thought. What about Veronica, you liar? What about the reason you're cheating on your partner? Is that what you want me to say? She asked. Do you not want to know why? She asked. I told them I knew why. I don't need to ask. Her face was blank. How do you figure out why? I told you. I know why people cheat. You have no morals. She gasped and her big blue eyes filled with tears. How do you say that? I thought you loved me. What does that have to do with it? I asked. I love you. I did before I found out you were crazy and cheated on your partner. Now I know why liking you is silly. We just need to get used to our new jobs. It happened again with the carp. She told me, your lips aren't quite right. They should point down more. What's wrong with you? At this point, she was almost screaming. What do you want with my lips? I said, yes, carp can get food from the bottom by pointing their lips down. Things are going well, but your mouth needs work. She probably didn't know that I studied carp a lot and didn't care that I told her spoof was bad. She asked what you meant when you said find. Do you want to split up with me? I told her, yes, but it will take some time. I thought you'd give me a break while you made out with Johnson since we lived together and I could wear a cage. That wasn't what I meant. Thomas, it's over. I'm not going to see him again. I don't want to split up with my husband. I told her. That's interesting. A wife who sleeps with someone other than her husband usually wants to end the marriage. It's not always the case, but that's how things go. It was only for a short time, Thomas. She said, I didn't want you to find out now that it's over. I promised to always be the best wife you could ever ask for. Well, I said, I'm sorry, but I have to say no. That sounds really good. Thomas, don't do that. She begged this time. You already know that I love you. It didn't mean anything in the end. I promise it's over. I told you, well, I don't know how I can believe it since you never told me how it started. How are you going to prove your point? She walked up to me and put her soft body against mine. She was definitely hot. I swear it's over now. We both knew how important what she said was. She jumped up. It made her growl. Stop talking about the cages, don't stress about the cages. I told you it was over. What the hell is wrong with you, Thomas? I love you. And I'm not going to do that nonsense. Not talk about it any longer. Oh, this is awful. I told him I'm sorry, Ronnie. Did you ever use protection when you were with Big Johnson? Her face turned red. She told them not to call him that. Thomas, you're so rude sometimes. Yes, I made him use the defense. He wasn't that big. I then asked if you had any plans for us to make love soon. Whenever you want, me out. Have I ever turned you down? I told her, well, I don't remember, but I still think you should get an STD test. Both of us should watch out not to hurt our health. If you could get something, you would have already, she said, but her voice cracked. Have you made love to me in a while? She asked. John and Thomas, I didn't hear. That's why you've been sick or tired lately. Yes, that is what I said. I've never liked the thought of pus coming out of my body. She scrunched up her nose when that name came up. She told me to go see a doctor tomorrow. Thomas, what's going to happen next? I told her there wouldn't be anything for a while. You know it takes time to get a divorce. The woman made a small noise. I told you I didn't want to break up. Some things I remember from when you were trying to get me to love you, I said. I know, I remember. It was just a minute ago. She begged, please don't get a divorce, I told her. It's over, I will always be loyal to you from now on. And I said, yes, I remember that too. I didn't believe you because I had heard that before. I told them I was going to leave them behind. Remember? Her face lit up. I remember. What's wrong? I have no idea. Thomas, I wasn't going to swindle you. We always did work together. I felt stupid because he kept making out with me. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean much. I also thought you'd be more angry. I told her I was. I had been mad for a long time. At first, I thought about killing you. I got an old gun. I even went to the gun range to improve my skills. After that, I chose to kill the lover. She made a face. I even thought about how to kill both of you. Macy talked me out of it. She was shocked. Apple Store knows. You told our daughter. Why would you do that? Really don't like me that much. I told her I didn't tell her. I could hear her. It looked like someone had hit her because there was blood on her face. Carp seemed to be high. How? When did she get it? How did she get it? That's the reason. Oh my God, she hasn't called me since. When I try to call her, she always says she's busy. I told him in case he wasn't hearing. One of his most important rules is that you should only kiss your mate. She just sat there with tears running down her face, and my happy words didn't change anything. She woke up from her dream at last. Thomas, what do I do now? She asked in a rude way. I have no idea at all, I told him. Could you read a book? Someone should make a website with tips on how to tell your daughter you're seeing someone else. She looked at me blankly. She told him, don't hit me if it makes you feel better. I think you should. Thomas, do you like making me hurt now? I wasn't mean when I said, well, yes, I think I do a little. You made me that way. Please help me now, she said. I'm sorry when you asked me what I thought would happen. I said, I don't know. I said, I didn't think you would. I did it without thought. Now that you know, what do you think? I asked her. She gave it some thought. What do you think about marriage not being closed off? She asked. I thought those things were going to happen but hadn't yet. Are you sure? She asked. I see people on TV and read about them in magazines. I replied, yes, I'm sure I've read many things. I waited in queue at the grocery store last week. You won't believe what I saw. A woman said she loved Sasquatch. She spoke and then stopped. It might not have been a carp but a puffer fish. I told them that no decent person would ever think that. Consider how you'd feel if you made that. These women are not wives, they are cheats. Being open only means lying. After that, think about how I feel about that. How do you feel about it? She asked. I told her, you look like you're going to cut off my balls. I still feel that way. That wasn't what I meant. What should I do, Thomas? She yelled. Stop, I told you it was over. I'm not seeing anyone else. Ava, do you think I have Alzheimer's? I said, yes, I remember. She just looked at me. She told me, I remember you telling me you didn't believe me. Also, would you like your divorce papers brought to this office or your place of work? She was shaking and said, I don't want a divorce. Hi, Thomas. I'm not ending our marriage. I don't think it's up to you, I told her. You have to wait, I think, 60 days while I file. If you don't fight it, the judge will grant the divorce. When I asked her why, she said, I'm going to fight it. It's clear that you don't want to marry me. What makes you so sure of that? She told him, I do want to be married to you. I asked, what about a lover? That doesn't seem like a good way to stay married to me. But I'll wear a cage until the breakup is over. I got the cage at the laundromat. It looks a little off, and I think it would hurt me, so I said, I don't think I'll wear it though. I set it down so she could see the bend in the wire. She took it from me and put it back in the laundry room. She didn't use the machine this time. Instead, she turned a washing box into a beautiful basket. Leave that gross thing alone, she yelled. That's rude of you. That's not what horny guys should do. When you said you're not a cuckold husband or something like that, she looked scared. I told her, I studied this very carefully. I guess not, I said in a way. You could call me weak. Slave is happy and obeys master. I don't really keep bull babies if Macy's isn't mine. She stared at me with her mouth open. She said, don't even think about it for a moment. I thought, of course she's yours. Should I get a DNA test? I felt like I was from Mars when I saw that look on her face. A DNA test told me that Macy was mine. I only grabbed her chain. That wasn't necessary, she said. Mackie is your child. Trust me, Thomas, I've never cheated on you. When Big Johnson's opened, it was clear to me. Don't call him that, please. I told you he wasn't that big. Thomas isn't anything. Trust me, you're big enough for any woman. Were you interested? I was interested. She turned red. I don't think she could do that. She said, girls talk about these things. How big is Sam's really? I asked. He was happy every time he had a big bag. Of course he did it every time Sandy wasn't there. She said, I don't know, guys who brag are always weak. But I've always thought that. Thanks, John. You learn something new every day. Have we talked about fights, bars, and wit enough? What is that anyway? I told her, well, I guess, but the divorce thing is going to come up. First, you still haven't told me where you'd like to be served. I think there will be a hearing. The couple is still married. It was clear what she said. She then went upstairs and I heard the shower running after she said those words. I went to the dirty clothes to get the cage. It wasn't very strong, but the wire was well made. It was in the box when I carefully put it on the mantel next to our wedding picture. I bent it as much as I could. It looked like a nice place. A beautiful red font said priority mail on the box. We're going to Angus Grill to eat. I asked for a great meal. It rang while I was having dinner. I figured it out. It was Ronnie. Where did you go? She asked. I told her while I ate. It's a great meal. You know how good a steak tastes if you've ever had one. But this one is really soft. In the tube, I could hear people breathe. Why didn't you ask me if it was okay to go? So I didn't bother you, I told you. I think you should call Big Johnson and let him know it's over. You might have had plans with someone else. Like that word? A love date makes me sad. That sounds like a turkey getting silly on the phone. She could call them for me while I go turkey hunting. I was going to tell him tomorrow, she said. When are you coming home? I told him that Bud has a darts game tonight. I was going to try it out, drink some beer, and then go home around 9. That is, unless Alicia is there. Why would you do that? She hissed. If she's there, I might as well hang out and see what she's up to. I told her, you know, I've always liked her while we were married. I didn't think about it at all. You're still married to me, she growled. If you're not home by 9, I'll come over and cut that fool's eyes out. There were no doubts in my mind. She never really cared about Alicia. When I got home, she was setting the dishes on the counter. After going upstairs, I took a shower and went to bed. I leave for work at 5:30. She came in after some time, took off her clothes, and got into bed naked. She started to slide down my body, so I stopped her. You should have taken that test, but I don't want to talk about it now. She sighed. Thomas, what you say doesn't make sense. I don't have an STD. Greg is married. He didn't want to ruin the surprise for his wife when they got home. Also, I promise I always made him wear safety gear. That's all I asked, is that oath like the one where you give up everything else. She gave it some thought. Do you want to make love to me? If not, how can I show you I mean it? She asked. I had a smile all day. Some of the guys made fun of me for it. When I got home, she was making a scene in the kitchen. Like you like them stuffed, she said. I'm making pork chops, that sounds great. I changed clothes upstairs. I went back downstairs and put on ESPN to watch basketball. She came in when she heard the TV and brought me a beer and chips. Wow, what a great life. We ate a tasty meal together, and she told me she checked out. In 3 days, there'll be news. It would likely be ready by Friday night since it was on Friday. I didn't want to make her sad because she seemed happy about the idea. If Ronnie made love to Big Johnson again, I told him he would have to take a new test. I won't sleep with him or anyone else, she yelled. Thomas, do I need to say it again? I'll really stick by you. No atomic clock from now on. I looked at her. She said, I'm sorry, Thomas. I will always be yours alone. There was no answer, even though it sounded like something I knew. She met me at the door every Friday with the test results. It was pointless for her to yell, see? I told you so. The doorbell rang right then. She took my hand and led me to the stairs. A big man was standing there when she opened the door. He had a beard on his head and wasn't more than 2 meters tall. The ink on the neck of his very nice suit that looked like a snake was slowly going away. Do you know what Veronica Brown is? He asked. Yes, what's this about? She got a big bag from him. I'm sorry, Mom, you were already served. He turned his heel and walked away. I wasn't sure. I believed that all process servers were little girls who liked to chew gum. It wasn't like. Not at all. It was a bad sign. We hoped things would get better soon. She turned around to look at me. Thomas, what is it? I think it's your divorce papers. When I said that, she moaned and fell to the floor of the hallway. They were being very rude. When I tried to help her get up, she pulled my hand away. Why? She cried. I already told you I don't want to split up. I'm so sorry, Thomas. Don't tell me you want to split up. It felt good to carry her to the couch and hold her. Did you think I was kidding when I said, well, I told you this would happen, she screamed. No, I thought you'd change your mind. Please let me try. Thomas, please give me a chance. I'll show you what a wonderful wife I am. Would you like to show it to me now? I asked her. She had tears in her eyes as she looked at me. What do you mean? I held out my hand. I got her. After she took it, she went upstairs. She showed me 3 times that night and on Saturday. I only had enough for 2 people on Sunday, but she took care of it. I need to give it to her. She told Big John to stay away from her and never call her again when she called him. I had to pay attention. He told her mean things because he didn't like it. I agreed with him because he used many of the same words that I did or that Macy did when she talked to me. I didn't know my cute little girl had such a big mouth. As the first step in the divorce process, the judge set up therapy. If we didn't show up to all 6 meetings, the counselor could cut down on the number of them. The judge let Arani choose that they picked, and I didn't like the guy they picked. He looked like a fat toad man who had not been married in 40 years. All of his new crazy ideas were put to the test on us. I felt like a white rat running through the tube, keeps track of the days that are left until they end. Both of them had done a lot of work, but the main one came up short in some way. I did everything he asked and played all of his games until the last lesson. He asked if he could call the judge and tell him that the divorce wasn't going to happen. I assured them that I would handle everything. He stooped down from his soft, old chair to give me a handshake. I grabbed it and lightly squeezed it. I put my arm out around him because his knees were getting weak. "Listen up, you fat jerk," I growled. "Any advice or stupid talk you give me should be shoved up my behind." I let him and Ronnie stand there while I went on my way. As I walked to the car, she followed me. "Thomas, what were you thinking?" she asked. I believed everything was going well. Yes, I thought the same thing. I told her this before she decided to work as a needle girl for Big John. She couldn't say anything for a minute. "You're really going to break up with me, right?" "That's what I said from the start." "Ronnie, you might want to see a doctor about your hearing," she said. "Are you going to move out or make me move out?" No. I like my house. I believe you may depart if you choose to do so. If one of us moves out, we'll have to sell the house and split the money, or the person who stays will have to pay the other person to leave. "So we're getting a divorce but staying together?" she asked. "Ronnie, I told you that you're great at making love. You can stay as long as you want. Things do change if you sleep with other guys. Are you going to sleep with other women?" she asked. "The longer you do this, the better." She smiled at me after she thought about what I said. "I don't see how I can have the energy," she told me. "We'll get married again in a year." I hope she wasn't betting on it. The chances looked very good. The end.